Hi, this is Retro Nerd Girl, and I am going to talk about my top 10 favorite franchises. At number 10 is X-Men. For all of the movies that I was able to see, I definitely enjoyed the franchise, and some of them are even really funny. For a while, I got tired and I stopped watching the franchise movie, but I thought when it came out, it was really cool and had a lot of things that I had been wanting to see on screen and to do with superheroes. And it was one of the first groups of superheroes or people with the mutants, which they never did ever call them mutants, but it was really cool to see them all on screen. So number 9 is Toy Story. Yes, I happen to see all of the Toy Story movies, and they're all excellent, all great. They seem to know how to hit you in the feels every single time. Toy Story 3 is just like on another level. It's on another level. But I remember seeing the first Toy Story, and you can still see the first Toy Story and enjoy it so very much. And it hasn't lost its charm, even though maybe a few of the special effects don't look as great anymore. It still has a lot of charm to it. So Toy Story is number 9. Number 8 for me is Underworld. I love this particular franchise. I wanted more. I definitely wanted more. The first movie was excellent. I really enjoyed it a lot. It wasn't necessarily groundbreaking, but it was also sort of kind of like something we had never seen before, a story just only about these werewolves and how they interact with vampires, and it was just great. I'm a big fan of both vampires and werewolves, and so I loved the interaction between them. It wasn't so crazy that they were fighting each other, but there's a nice built-in storyline around that, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. My favorite though is The Rise of the Lycans. So good. Had like a wonderful little love story in there. They showed you a preview of it in the first movie, and so the second movie really paid off that love story. So good, and I was rooting for the Lycans in that one, and it was really a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I enjoyed it so much. The other ones I are a little bit more of a blur, but it's usually the first two movies in the franchise that really capture you. And I think the Underworld really does that very well in the first two movies. Harry Potter is another one. I actually sat down and watched all of the Harry Potters one day, and it was really very gratifying and just I love the story so much, and I know there is quite a bit of controversy about the IP, but it is a good IP, and it dominated my life for a little bit there, and so I'm not like completely proficient in Harry Potterese, but I can definitely tell you that they were very, very entertaining to me. Number 6 is Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, this is so good. Nightmare on Elm Street, when it first came out, just was such a shock to me and blew my mind. It was very shocking and very funny and very charming at the same time. It was scary and freaky because it had to do with dreams and the last thing you want to deal with is nightmares, and this was like you couldn't go to sleep because if you did, he was going to come get you. And I loved all that, and there was like a really cool little scary lullaby in there that really made you freak out. Just so many incredible visuals in in the first movie, and they continued on to build up a really interesting line of events for all of the other movies that followed. One of my favorites is Dream Warriors. That was just a lot of fun. I love the soundtrack as well. Number 5 is The Matrix. I love The Matrix so much. The first movie was really incredible. Truthfully, I feel like The Matrix could have just been told in one movie. That first movie was really the main crux of the idea. I felt like the message got a little muddied after that, but there were so many iconic scenes in a lot of the other iterations of the Matrix that you can't deny. So I do appreciate the sequels, but the first one was always incredible. I don't know how many of hundreds of times I've seen that movie, and it's just incredible. Can't wait to one day do a very deep dive and talk about this movie with you guys. Now, number 4 is Alien. Alien is one of those movies that, oh, now number 4 is the Alien franchise. Oh my goodness. The Alien franchise, um, has sort of a weird thing with me because the first movie was really scary. I may have seen it too young, and it was good, but it's slow moving, and it has, again, iconic moments you will never forget. Ah, so good. And the storyline's fantastic. It's just good. A fantastic performance by Sigourney Weaver. And for me, the follow-up, Aliens, was just like one of my favorite, was like in my top 5 and my top 3 really, favorite movies. It's just so good. I loved Aliens so much. The storytelling, the action, the fact that it's pretty much like a war zone movie, and then you've got all of these the sort of background to the first Alien movie, continuing on with that story. It's just so good. It was achieved to make Aliens kind of this incredible experience. Alien 3, I barely remember. That wasn't really that great, except for the last part. I always remember the last part because it is iconic. I did enjoy the fourth offering for Alien. It's like one of my favorite guilty pleasures, Alien Resurrection. And yeah, there's so many great things. I know that the more recent ones I haven't been able to catch up with. Number 3 is the Planet of the Apes. My favorite, of course, is the original rendition of 5. The 5 movies that came out was incredible. I loved all of them, and I enjoyed the first one immensely. That was groundbreaking and highly intellectual, just really good stuff. I really the second one was good, but in a cheeky way. It was very much a guilty pleasure. But the third one was so good when they ended up on planet Earth. The apes ended up on planet Earth, and it was so good. That storyline, the deception, the fact that it doesn't end as a happy ending. It's very somber, that ending. And then the fourth one was so good when Caesar actually gets to grow up in this society in which apes are slaves, and he gets to overturn that world and establish something incredible for the ape society to start to thrive. It's really great. Also watched all of the new versions of, well, not all of them, but I also watched most of the newer versions of the Planet of the Apes, and that was good too. I even enjoyed the one that a lot of people seem to pan, the Tim Burton one, and I really enjoyed that one too. Charlton Heston makes an appearance in that one as an ape, and it's really great. It tickled me so much. But yes, this is a fantastic franchise, and I absolutely love it. Oh, that this is one of the the Terminator. That's my second favorite franchise of all time. The Terminator. Of course, the Terminator 1984 is my favorite film of all time. It's just will always be number one. It does have a special place in my heart. It is one of the most impressive cinematic moments for me watching that movie when it first came out. And then Terminator 2 was another. I was like, what is going on here? The storyline for this franchise is just so hot and sizzling. No, number 3 didn't do that for me, but it was still decent. There was still some things that I really liked. The third movie, I have been sort of in a love kind of like standing aside to kind of peer in on the other ones. I think one of them I just fell asleep on because I couldn't, had lost the interest by then. But again, for having the first two amazing movies, definitely that is a winner for me with when it comes to franchise. But recently, Terminator, the Terminator franchise has just released a brand new show on Netflix, Terminator Zero, and it is so good. It is so good. It has restored my faith in the franchise, and I can't wait to see what they do in the future for this. That particular series actually saved the franchise and makes the other Terminator projects seem a lot more sound. So I am going to watch all of the Terminator franchise movies with a new lens now, not as critical because it's going to be they're all set in their own universe. And again, I'm so excited about the Terminator franchise and what it's capable of in the future. So I actually still have a lot of hope for this franchise. I can't wait to see what will be done in the honor of Terminator. And what I consider the most impressive franchise of my life happens to be Star Wars. It is a movie I saw in 1977 with my mom, and it was astounding. It was just like seeing a story I'd always wanted to see. It was my precious little 7-year-old self was like, "Oh my god, Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia and Han Solo and Chewbacca and R2-D2." And it just was like such a wonderful storyline that I fell in love with instantly. I rather was sort of I sort of identified mostly with Luke in that case. I felt like I understood the character because I was like a kid and I felt like scrawny and misunderstood and I always wanted to have the force. I wanted to train like Luke did, and one of the things that I also really loved about it was how it seemed to have a bigger scope than just the movie. Obi-Wan telling Luke about his father and the Clone Wars and all that stuff. The mind, we were just like all the kids at the time and were like, yeah, what okay, tell us more about this world and tell us more about what happened. And so we get a little bit more in the next movie, Empire Strikes Back, which was amazing. Just an incredible adventure. And also in the third movie as well, just to completely round out the story of these three friends who are fighting against supervillains, if you will, Darth Vader and the Emperor. So it was just incredible how the first three movies really set up the story and impressed so many people. And it lasted for a long time until we got the prequels. And the prequels also had a lot going for it that I enjoyed. I very much enjoyed a lot of it. I did have some issues with some of the story, but I still felt like I was in another galaxy far, far away. And there was so much more story to be told. And I think my biggest criticism was I wanted more of I wanted to know more. I wanted more immersive feelings about that. And that's the cool thing about Star Wars. Kind of after that was like with the Clone Wars and other animated shows. they went into deeper lore to do with that time period during the prequels, and they told other stories. They fleshed out other characters, and that was really good. I feel like that's a good thing for the the franchise, keeping the fire alive all of these years. And with the acquisition of Disney and Star Wars, with the acquisition of Disney buying Star Wars, I think we all felt like, oh my gosh, we're going to get so much amazing content because Disney really knows how to cater to kids and families based on the classic era that we had just got out of. They called it the Disney Renaissance of all of these animated movies that were so well told. And so we thought we were going to get the same storytelling. I think the sad part about it is that we didn't quite get that promise, but looking forward to a brighter future for Star Wars, but also reveling in the older iterations of Star Wars that really meant so much to me. It always exists, we'll always have it. You can always go back to those first three movies if that's your thing. If you're into the prequels, you can always go back to the prequels. It's always going to be there for you. Buy, if you can, get your own physical copy of these works, just in case something happens or something gets shuffled around. You have your own personal copy. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Star Wars. It is definitely the top franchise, in my opinion, or my go-to, So these are my top 10 favorite franchises for me, but I have a funny feeling you might have a different list. So why don't you go ahead and leave a comment telling me what your top 10 favorite franchises are. If you can't name 10, give me 5. So I'm gonna be looking for your comments down there to see what did I miss? Maybe I missed a few. Maybe I might see your list and say, maybe I need to change my list. So yes, please, I would love to know. And yes, please, I would love to know. If you'd like me to make more videos like this, please do like, comment, or subscribe. Either one will help the channel greatly. But also, YouTube is going to suggest a video for you to watch. Without further ado, I bid you adieu, and I'll see you again real soon.